20 voiceover off.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream. Sorry for the technical issues in our last one. The nice, lovely 2.4 gigahertz cannot handle a 4K stream. Yes, this is being streamed in 4K. So it crashed, but without further ado, let's get started. I'm gonna be streaming past midnight, and that's lovely. So, yay! Without further ado, without my whack ass sound.
In a shocking attack on free speech, and of course the right wing in general, from January 6th up until today, the establishment elites have not stopped trying to silence effective critics of their regime and people who are, I would say, intelligent enough to know that we are being duped, we are being lied to. But because of the Constitution and our Bill of Rights, they are unable to direct.
So it keeps going to switch the mic down into my nice lovely deck over here. So without further ado, let's continue.
Reasons that they want to, and instead they attack us from every other side, trying to destroy our lives, destroy our platforms, and silence the truth. There's nobody that they are more afraid of in the midst of this battle than commentator and the infamous Alex Jones, who is on camera with me today for a special report. Alex Jones, welcome back to Slightly Offensive.
Nice lovely deck.
Elijah, thanks for having me here during these very, very dark times for our republic.
And they are dark times, Alex. And just personally, we are watching right now before we even jump into the trial.
This trial is a mess. I want to throw that out there, and wow, it's just it's pretty interesting.
And discuss all the details of where you're getting hit. My first question to you is, how are you holding up just in the midst of all of the intensity and the scrutiny in the attacks that have been happening over the last week?
You know, we're holding up well. The crew's great. My family's wonderful. The listeners and viewers are praying for us and supporting us because they understand the attack on myself and President Trump and people like Steve Bannon and people like Glenn Beck and Tucker Carlson are attacks on who the corrupt establishment, the globalists, see as populist leaders that could mobilize humanity to not go along with the Great Reset and this collapse of our civilization on which they want to build their Build Back Better.
The Build Back Better agenda includes a libertarian government statue of libertarian activists that would run the UN and a few other big government bodies.
Better New World Order. And so they hate America. They've deindustrialized America. They've shipped fentanyl into America. They've dissolved our borders. They've dumbed down our children. They've literally brainwashed us, and they're coming after everybody. And so I'm really honored that they've engaged in just so many attacks and put so much energy into coming after me. That lets us know that we're over the target. That's an old saying from World War II before they had radar. And they had radar towards the end, but the aircraft didn't have radar. And they would fly by line of sight in to bomb their targets in occupied Europe. And they knew to steer towards the flak or the anti-aircraft guns and exploding shrapnel, because that's where they would place the guns, was around the factories that they were being sent in to
Yep, that is true.
bomb and stop. And so I steer towards the flak, and that's basically my motto, is to be where the war is, where the fight is. To quote John Paul Jones, the founder of the U.S. Navy, when his ship that was 1/3 the size of the British ship was starting to sink, the British captain held across on a primitive bullhorn and said, "Are you ready to surrender?" And he said, "Surrender? I have only begun to fight." So that's my message to the deep state, the corrupt judiciary, the corporate media, all of them. InfoWars and Alex Jones has only begun to fight. And so have the American people and the people of the world, from Europe to South America and places like Brazil. Humanity is rising.
No, you're correct. And I kind of...
That is true. The humanity is rising.
want to jump there and let's just touch base because, the attacks upon you have been relentless for decades. I mean, you know that for sure. But of course, they ramped back up starting in.
I mean, Alex has said some things that put him out there, so I'm not surprised that he's been attacked because people agree to disagree. But what is going on right now, that the Sandy Hook was, that incident occurred, oh shoot, a very long time ago, and it's still over 10 years. And it's still being brought up to this day.
In January 6th, before these trials even started for the Sandy Hook topic, they literally have been trying to take you down on, conspiracies, on treason, on whatever they were thinking of concocting, even though from January 6th, you were on camera genuinely telling people not to commit crimes, not to do what they were doing, not to vandalize. And so I want to ask, have they been successful in any bit or piece of that investigation in hitting you with any criminal accusations, or has the deep state and the elites fallen short there?
Well, obviously, I don't believe in storming a Capitol and making us all look like idiots. We were trying to have a 10-day investigation that Senator Cruz supported, have an investigation in the Senate of the anomalies in the election. And so I've been part of so many Trump rallies. We've had several big ones in D.C., almost as big as the January 6th one, that were basically entirely peaceful, except for a few Antifa attacking people.
Not surprised Antifa's attacking, because that's what they do best. They do that best because that's what they want to do, and they are I'll say it, a domestic terrorist group to some organizations, including rallies, and they can be a classified domestic terrorist of the United States of America. That's just how it's seen and how it looks.
And so I just expected the Secret Service and the Capitol Police to have it all handled. And as I was marching towards the Capitol, we began to see on our smartphones that people were attacking police and going in the building. And we're on record in our live streams. It got picked up by folks that were live streaming. I said, let's get there. Let's stop this. And we got there and it was too late. So the idea that I wanted that to happen is just preposterous. It really derailed us legitimately questioning the election. And they're trying to call that election denying now, like everything else. We're not supposed to ask questions, but that is a fundamental, not just American right, but
that is nature. That's nature in us to ask questions. We all question people, or we question things. And at this rate, the U.S. government seems so shady enough that the U.S. citizens take it into their own hands to question their own government. Yeah.
Human right, but yes, they've subpoenaed me. They had me testify to the January 6th committee because it is a kangaroo court. I took the Fifth Amendment, not because I'm criminal, but because they want to twist my words and have a witness or somebody claim actually something else happened to get me in a perjury trap.
And he has every right to get himself, to plead the Fifth, because he feels like he's in a, his view seems like he's in a trap of some regards and stuff like that. I am network testing. Stream may stutter briefly as I am testing network bandwidth.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And the reason why I bring that up first, if you're new to listening or you're not familiar with Alex, is because we're going to find out at the end of this interview how the investigation January 6th, they're trying to connect it to this trial for the Sandy Hook victims.
Not really surprised, and I'm honestly not, because, someone covers something like I cover something, and someone pokes at it occasionally. People are going to do that stuff. That's unfortunate of some people. They like to nag at certain things. So, that's the way it goes.
And the way that they're trying to use this too. I want to bring up a quote for you, Alex, and I want to jump right in here. Then we're going to talk about everything that we need to know. Anything that you can't say for legal reasons, just let me know. I want to let the audience know that Alex and I have not pre-talked before this. He has not told me there's anything I'm not allowed to ask, and he does not have any of the questions. And so this is a complete unfiltered and raw interview to get the truth out and to tell him.
Some people jump to conclusions, so that's why Elijah Schaffer is explaining why it's raw and not being filtered, and why Alex does not have the FAQ.
his side of the story as the media attempts to smear, slam, and destroy him. I'm sure you saw this article from the New York Post with this quote, and I'd like to bring this up. It says, and quote, "I ask that with your verdict, you not only take Alex Jones' platform that he talks about away, I ask that you make sure that he can't rebuild that platform. That's what matters." Lawyer Wesley Ball said, "That is punishment. That is deterrence." Right here, Alex, I believe that we got the smoking gun before we talk about the details. It looks like in this trial, to me, this is not about just justice for victims or to punish somebody who they think did something wrong. This appears that
To censor someone and to take their platform away is taking things a little bit extreme, because like myself and like others, Alex, even if you disagree with him, does have a right to have his own platform. He has a right, to do that. He has a right to have his own place to say what he's thinking. People may disagree. Well, and then that's when you change the channel. You may not agree with this reaction live stream, so you may go watch something else. Or you might watch something else on this talk show but may disagree with this. And that is completely understandable. But you may agree with this, but then not watch any of my other stuff. That's just the way it is. That's why I cover a lot of things. And this one, this is old now, but it's recent, and it's before I get into a live stream that I'm doing on Friday, hopefully.
that this is a court trial to destroy Alex Jones and to silence him for the rest of his life. Am I incorrect on that, or what do you take from this quote?
You're 100% right. In fact, I have the video of that. That was in his closing arguments yesterday in the punitive phase. I can go through all the different levels of it, but
I'm not surprised that that was correct. I'm not honestly not surprised.
they said over and over again, silence him, take his megaphone away, never let him back on air again for all the bad things he does, like talking bad about Hillary Clinton. He said, "How dare Mr. Jones say lock her up?"
Mr. Jones, also known as Alex Jones, can say lock a person up because he feels like she did something that he believes that she did illegally. Now, I'm looking at this from a perspective of maybe a very, very conservative person to this situation. Now, if I was a complete liberal or a left-wing person, then I would be on their side about, no, she should not be locked up. But there is evidence out there that some people really hardcore believe in. Me personally don't honestly care until it affects me personally, that Nancy Pelosi has done illegal stuff and that she should be locked up.
So that same group of lawyers got up there and said, this man called for Hillary Clinton's arrest, and you've got to silence him so he can't do that. So,
my bad, correction, Hillary Clinton, not Nancy Pelosi. Well, I mean, he did tap into Trump's Trump Tower. She did tap into it, and tapping or wiring is, I'm pretty sure, illegal in the state of New York, too. It is here in Florida.
they're not even denying now that they want to silence us. But here's what happened. 10 years ago, Sandy Hook took place. I thought it really happened. The internet questioned it. I covered some of the anomalies. And for 6 years, I've said I thought it happened, years before they sued me. Then these Democratic Party law firms in Texas, where they have a weaponized judiciary in Austin, as bad as D.C., and in Connecticut, sued me. And we gave them all this discovery, the emails, the text messages, the...
You know, the Sandy Hook thing, it did happen. In the back of my mind, I do speculate and question, is it real? But with the way the world is, the United States, it started with the whole Sandy Hook thing, really. In the shooting we had, the Parkland school shooting that has been going on for the Parkland school shooting that happened on Valentine's Day about 4 years ago. You know, honestly, it's a behind the scenes thought, but it doesn't really come to my mind that it's fake. Some people say it is, some people say it isn't. You know, some people may come after me and be like, "Oh, it is fake." Well, that's your opinion to my opinion of disagreement. You know, there, there are certain other things in the world that I could say that actually have true evidence, and I'd have to dig around and pull it out. That's why I'm not going to mention it in the stream. That certain things are fake, and certain things did happen.
All this stuff they claim, that we had, things we were hiding in, but we weren't hiding anything. So they didn't have a case, and so they just simply had the judges say, Jones is defaulted for not providing discovery. Well, if you don't provide discovery, you don't get defaulted. Defaulted is if you don't ever even show up to court or for a deposition. I gave them hundreds of thousands
Yep, that is true.
of documents they asked for, gave them everything. And so the judge in this case over 20 times told the jury, this man is guilty. Since when does a judge decide you're guilty? And you will now decide how guilty he
I don't know. Yeah, when does a judge?
is. And I've got another trial with more of the Sandy Hook parents coming up in a few months in Texas and in a few months in Connecticut. I declared bankruptcy, and so that's put that off. But the main reason I declared bankruptcy is they had a fake economist up there. All these people, by fake, I mean, it's just what he was saying wasn't true. Jones has got $270 million. Jones made $70 million last year. Jones kept $61 million last year. I don't have $2 million in cash, which is nothing for a company this size. We are barely hanging on, and that's the reality. Well, they wouldn't let.
Yeah, Alex is correct. He is a poor man. He is poor. He's living his company on a literal string.
Let me testify, or any of our experts during the punitive phase. They only had their economist on to just make stuff up with no evidence or anything else to tell the jury he made hundreds of millions of dollars off Sandy Hook that we never made any money off of. And so you need to take that money away and give it to these parents. So people say, man, how are you handling on the actual damages part on Thursday? They said 4.2 million. And then in the punitive phase, they said 40 plus million. It totals almost 50.
So they go from 4.5 million to 40 million. Jeez, some people don't know how to do math. Good grief. Damn. That is awful.
$50 million. People are like, how are you handling it? Oh my gosh, what's it like? I've had neighbors come over and say, I didn't know you had $270 million. I'm like, I don't. So
Wow, neighbors.
it's kind of like a joke in that they're lying so much. I don't have all this money, and so it's all going to come out in bankruptcy court. But there's videos of the lawyers yesterday after court closed bragging to the media that we're going to feast over Jones's corpse. We're going to divide the corpse of InfoWars amongst all these families. We're going to get hundreds of millions of dollars. And I can't tell if the lawyers just want publicity or they've got some big Soros-backed donor. We know there's some.
Someone's either running this show, and this is me questioning it, just like Alex. I can't speculate, but I'm really questioning it. Because you got that stuff there, and then you have, like, these lawyers claiming, oh, we're going to kill InfoWars. We're going to get a big payday out of this and stuff like that. So either someone's blowing smoke up someone's ass, or these people are just lying to have just a lie through their teeth, and stuff like that. If you're just tuning in, we are reacting to Alex Jones's interview with Slightly Offensive on the show for the Slightly Offensive show about Alex Jones being sued for a nice, good amount of money.
Some of that going on, or they really think there's all this money. But they're obviously telling these families that there's this big payday. And again, these same plaintiffs in this first case, Heslin and Scarlett Lewis, Gil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis, they're part of the $73 million Remington settlement with 8 families. So divide the 2 of the 8 is them out of 73 million. And they've sued everybody. And now they're not just trying, these lawyers, to get rid of the Second Amendment using Sandy Hook. They're also trying to get rid of the First Amendment.
Wow. Wow. I'm honestly not surprised considering the fact, but wow.
And so that's how they keep Sandy Hook in the news, is by focusing on me covering Sandy Hook years ago, demonizing me, and then attaching themselves to me at every level, and then claiming I'm making money off them and I'm making money off Sandy Hook. This was
Once again, bringing up the past to try to ruin someone currently. That is cancel culture at its finest. So they are trying to cancel. I mean, this man's been canceled already, but they trying to double cancel him. You can't cancel what's been canceled.
Alex Jones hate society meeting with literal banks of TV cameras in and outside the court, where the New York Times and others were hissing and yelling at me, not even asking questions. You're going down. You're going to jail. You got $180 million. You got $270 million. But they were asking for $150 million. But it's ridiculous. It's like if the police wrote you a parking ticket for $50 million and you don't have $50,000 at the bank, it's not in the real world.
That is true. If that happens, it's not in the real world, so you can't pay that ticket. Hi, Nikita. Sorry for the technical issues. Yeah, that was lovely. My 2.4 gigahertz network was connected to this Mac instead of the 5 gigahertz network, and yeah, my 5 gigahertz are used for streaming. And then 2.4 band got really congested really quickly, so it crashed the whole network on the 2.4 gigahertz side. But enough with network and router info. If you got charged $2 million, but you only had $200,000, where's the rest of that money? Oh, it's magically not there. So $1.8 million does not exist. So you're charging essentially what my Mac's blowing, air.
What it really is a deterrent to anybody else to question official narratives. And it's the dying corporate media and the scared establishment, knowing they've lost control of the public's mind, knowing that people don't trust them. No group has a lower approval rating than mainstream media. It's even lower than Joe Biden or Congress. And so they think if they can put me on trial for something that I questioned and made a mistake on, but unintentionally, that somehow that's going to suddenly discredit all the media, all the new media. And that's what Ball and Farr and Bankston and those lawyers said in their opening statements or closing statements was, we are going to take out patient zero. Alex Jones is the source of the disease. Once he's off the air, we'll be able to silence everybody else. No, patient zero is lying about WMDs in Iraq. Patient zero.
Oops, his mic clipped. Patient zero. I know he's referring to Biden.
Is the deep state killing Kennedy and saying Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. Patient zero is staging the Gulf of Tonkin attack to get us into Vietnam. Patient zero is Biden saying there is no inflation, but oh, now inflation's good.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we have inflation levels. Actually, let me bring that up real quick. So Biden earlier today had a nice lovely interview earlier today where he had a nice lovely, like I said, interview about inflation. And he said inflation is currently sitting at 0%. Yep, Biden's brain breaks right here. Here's that video. Alright, so as y'all can see here on the stream, Biden's brain breaks, claims that there's 0% inflation. Let's get started, if it works correctly.
Danielle, thank you. Before I begin today, I want to say a word about the...
So me and Justin were also watching this before I started streaming, about 2 hours ago. Either he's really depressed or sad, or dementia's getting worse.
News that came out today relative to the economy. Actually, I just want to say a number: 0. Today, we received news that our economy had 0% inflation in the month of July. 0%. Here's what that means.
Our economy actually has an 8.5% inflation currently, actually. If you look at the actual stats, and not the stats that come from the United States government. it's still killing us. Our electric bills here in the state of Florida, especially mine, fuel charges went up $100. So now instead of a typical $350 electric bill in the summer, luckily it did go down a little bit, but mine was 280 last 287 in June, but for July's bill it skyrocketed to $437.
Well, the price
Tell me that's not inflation.
of some things went up last month. The price of other things went down by the same amount. The result, zero inflation last month, but people are still hurting.
Inflation did not go all the way down if things are going up but things are going down. That means an unstable market. That means inflation is inflating other things while other things are deflating. That is to be expected in a market when the inflation does drop 0.5% down to an 8.5% from a 9.0.
But zero inflation last month. Economists look at a measure of inflation that ignores food and energy prices, and they call it core inflation.
Ignoring food and energy is a no-no. You need to look at all of it, to be fair.
That's about the lowest amount in several months. When you couple that with
But I'll get into the rest of this later. But that's Biden's brain breaking today. That's what he claimed, 0% inflation. But we'll get into more of that later on with with me reacting to something else later, and I'll upload it to the channel. Let's see.
Prices are literally skyrocketing.
Exactly my point, Nikita. I mean, gas did come down by about $2.80 in the state of Florida, but still, it's not fun. You know, play video. Well, then I'll do this because you're not playing. What the heck is going on? It's not wanting to play.
Voiceover on Brave. 20 space with application speed test. And system preferences. Speed test. You are currently on space with OBS containing Windows OBS 27.2.4 Mac profile. Space with Brave containing Windows 21 exclusive. The Alex Jones Sandy Hook post trial interview. YouTube. In spaces bar group. List one item selected. Brave browser exits a full screen Brave browser. You are currently on a button.
It's acting up. It's not wanting to play.
Button. Button. Button.
And this thing completely locked up.
System preferences. Network window. Quick Finder. Desktop. Drake. Trophies instrumental. Apple MP4 audio. Brave.
Or,
There we
well,
go.
now we have a new
Show settings,
definition of
voiceover off.
inflation, or a new definition of recession, or a new definition of definition, or that men can dominate women's sports.
Oh God, his mic is clipping. But yeah, I agree with him about the. See, this is where another thing I kind of agree with.
Recession, or a new definition of definition, or that men can dominate women's sports.
Men should not be able to dominate women's sports. As a man myself, we should leave women's sports alone so we don't ruin it with our masculinity and be toxic to men.
They're at war with logic. They're trying to take over civilization because people don't want to live under tyranny. They've got to sell us to live in their fantasy land.
True.
Nikita Smith, first things first, why would there be 0% inflation when gas prices are literally skyrocketing? You can't get enough food to feed families, and in general, other costs are going up.
Yep, that's inflation.
Nikita Smith, secondly, that's the way with the world of business. Some things go up, while others go down. That's the way with supply chain.
Exactly.
To live channel.
You learn that in
Privacy.
most of that in fucking high school if you get a correct education. Jesus. Pisses me off.
And so they think they can crucify me, demonize me, to then intimidate everybody else to shut up. They actually said it in their closing comments. You just read one of the quotes. It gets worse than that, Elijah. It is unbelievable.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, and you do see that this is absolutely a witch hunt because there's three aspects. I mean, New York Times just released an article that said, this trial is not going to stop Alex Jones from spreading lies. And this,
Lies. If there's evidence to support what he's saying, then they're not lies. But shutting him up, yeah, they know it's not going to. And this when he filed for bankruptcy, their court case just went poof, literally poof. It's gone.
This is the sad part, I think, is that if you really were fighting for the victims of Sandy Hook, or you really thought Alex Jones committed a crime and you thought he needed to be prosecuted, then what is it that you're trying to do? Are you trying to find justice for a specific crime, or are you trying to shut a person up? And, I notice this every time you're in the news. YouTube has started cracking down. I don't know if you saw, they're really cracking down on the use of the word groomer. So they're saying, oh, we care about the kids of Sandy Hook. Okay, that's very good, and the families. But
oh, here it comes.
then also, if you call someone a groomer, which would be somebody who's sexually abusing or trying to sexually abuse kids, we're going to protect them, which...
That's fucked. That's fucked. I don't even know where to begin. And I create content for this platform. I'm a content creator. I do other stuff. I do tech-related stuff. And I try to nip it in the bud as much as possible. But that grinds my wheels. Because if someone's grooming a child and it's newsworthy, and YouTube is a platform for news people to be on and stuff like that with YouTube TV, or in this regards, my show, my talk show and stuff like that, that's fucked up on so many damn levels.
Which proves that they don't care about children, that they're not caring about the public, that it's not their ultimate
This is a
goal.
very, very sick cult. They were blocking Economist last week, as you know, Elijah, that said we were in a recession.
And the word recession was edited about 4 times on Wikipedia.
Nikita Smith, what the actual fuck? 3 question marks.
Yep.
Ad reaction.
Even though the recession is 2 consecutive quarters with negative growth.
That's a recession.
So yeah, it's all an exercise in suppressing speech. And listen, I said Neil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis's name here. Okay? I never said their name until this trial.
Wow.
Under Texas law, you can't sue somebody when you've never said their name. But here...
So according to Alex Jones, I really don't want to dig into it right now, but yeah. That's interesting. You cannot sue someone unless they say your name. I like that.
Here's what's even wilder. She got on the stand earlier this week. Very nice lady.
Nikita Smith.
And they brought her a 1-minute edited tape of me on the show that morning. And they played it. Wouldn't let us put any evidence on, but just brought...
So that's bullshit. Editing a clip, that edited clip. No, you should show what he said on the show. I'm sorry, but you should not modify evidence.
Raw clips in.
And okay, if that evidence is modified, then it needs to be thrown out.
And they played it. Wouldn't let us put any evidence on, but just brought raw clips in, or edited clips in. And she goes, you see? You said I'm deep state, and you said this is all fake today on your show. And the clip didn't even say that, but they cut the front and the end off where I said, I believe Scarlett Lewis is real. I believe her son died, and I apologize for that.
It's called misinterpretation and twisting of video and audio form of digital content. Which is fucking lovely, because people could do the same shit to me.
Ad reaction.
And I think she's got actually a good foundation about teaching kids how to be loving. And I think Neil Heslin's a good guy. They edited that all out with an edited tape. And then we said to the judge, can we play the 10-minute segment from my show, right? They said no.
No. Mr. Alex Jones, you are a bad boy. You do not need to be suggesting that. Court dismiss. That's essentially it.
So they would let them put edited tapes in, and I'm sitting there while this woman says, I was shown the clip, and I was told by others, he said X, Y, and Z, which I didn't do. So everything that I'm being accused of is actually what's happening with them. It's just simply insane. And, they also talk about, the big story Thursday and Friday. Jones caught in massive perjury. They've got his phone. A, they don't have my phone. B, I didn't engage in perjury. I'm sitting up there on the stand.
It's funny, they attacked him, and then now they attack Trump, too.
Always said, I gave him my text messages. I gave them all the company stuff, even though they don't usually do that in a defamation case.
Damn, Alex Jones was that cooperative. Holy
Nikita
shit,
Smith,
I'm
that's
impressed.
messed up. If you're editing something, that honestly makes me wonder if they're trying to hide something.
Yeah, they are, Nikita. They're trying to cause a hate crime using the courts.
There was some secret conspiracy to lie about him. And I've always said that, but the judge said it wasn't turned over properly. So then he presents text messages and says, we got it from your lawyer, we've got your phone. And that's what I always said, is I gave my lawyers the information. And then the one text message they have about Sandy Hook, their big smoking gun, is Paul Joseph Watson, who didn't even work here at the time, but still worked with his son. He did basically, quit because he was mad at some of the writers over here and thought that they should do a better job. And none of us are perfect. And Paul has some pretty good standards. I respect Paul. He's worked for me for 20 plus years. There was a text message from Paul saying, hey, this story about COVID dummies and how they're not real people on respirators, but they're COVID dummies, this is Sandy Hook style crap. I said, yeah, I agree with you. So, but then it turned out they were shooting video of people that were dummies just because they didn't want to actually go in and show folks in the hospitals. We weren't saying people weren't dying.
Which that is to protect privacy of the people that are sick or dying. I understand that. I can get that, but the media really needs to stop with that shit. The media shouldn't have done that, regardless of the fact if they were seeing, showing people dying and whatever. But to stage stuff, that's just no. I disagree with that.
From COVID, but that was just a text we missed where Paul sent me a message, and it's me agreeing with him. So that oh my God, a text from my lawyer they gave him is now the Perry Mason moment that I was engaged in this deception. I gave the lawyers in Texas and in Connecticut all of it. And so when you see them on the news, and there's a famous clip of the judge saying, Mr. Jones, you lied on the stand. This is like Wednesday. You did not give us the discovery. You did not comply. It's why you're defaulted. And she said, you believe the things you say, but just because you believe it doesn't make it reality. What I say up here is reality in this courtroom.
Well, that's a judge. Because they put in order what goes on in their room, in their establishment place, which in this case is a courthouse. That is their policy. Let me check my stats on this computer to see how we're running,
Voiceover on Brave.
so we don't have any crashes.
Menu extras. OBS Studio. Menu iStat menu status. Download 19.96 kilobytes per second. Upload 370.72 kilo. Length iStat menu status. CPU core average 124 degree. Menu extra. iStat menu status. Memory pressure 14%. Left side 3000. iStat menu status. CPU 25%. Menu iStat menu status. CPU 25%. Left Cloudflare warp. Left side 3126 RPM. Right side 3363 RPM. Left side voiceover off.
So we're cooking.
Talk about an Orwellian, bizarre statement. So this 2-week trial was the weirdest thing, Elijah, in my life. It was over the top bizarre. And I walked out of the courtroom that day, Wednesday or Thursday or whatever day it was. I guess it was Thursday. And there was like 15 news cameras outside. And they were laughing and they were smiling. They said, you're going to jail. We got you. January 6th is going to get your text messages. It's all over. You perjured yourself. And they were just smiling and laughing like their team had just won the Super Bowl, or they'd just had a baby boy. We're handing out cigars at the maternity ward. And I looked at them.
Handing out cigars at the maternity award. Oh, love it. Love it, love it, love it. Well, that's the media for you.
And I said, you understand, I gave my lawyers those text messages. And so by that evening, we went and looked at the files, what had happened. They'd given Connecticut all the search terms in my text. And one of the paralegals, they were searching my phone in 6-month chunks. So a chunk from 2019, late 2019, early 2020, long before January 6th, had been searched by them, and the paralegal left that in the file.
Oops.
That was then given to Connecticut. And then when my local lawyer became joint counsel in Connecticut, they sent them all these files. And then they sent those files in discovery, which we supposedly didn't comply with, to the other lawyers, and then stuff from my lawyer, raw text messages they shouldn't have sent.
Also, those are not my speakers crackling. That is his mic clipping.
And has nothing in it, turns into me perjuring myself because I said I gave my text messages. Yes, I gave my legal representatives the damn messages. I mean, what is there? Their smoking gun is Paul Watson going, hey, this COVID story sounds like BS, sounds like Sandy Hook. And I say, I agree. So in my intimate messages 2+ years ago, it's me at CPAC talking to Paul over text message. That's their smoking gun. That's their Perry Mason moment. Is Paul talking about a incubator? Not incubator.
A ventilator.
What are those things called? The things they use to breathe on, the
Like
ventilators.
oh, yeah, ventilators.
Yeah, the ventilators. So just think about that, Elijah. It's just crazy.
No, okay, so yeah, let me get this straight. So a few things that I want to clarify. So this, your judge, her name's Maya Gamble, correct? Maya
Oh God, this is where it gets interesting about this judge.
Gira or whatever her name is.
Yeah, she on her own Facebook has blue hair.
Yeah,
Oops, mic clip again.
I'm
She's an
seeing that.
SJW.
No, yeah, she's.
Oh fucking Christ! No wonder why. Social justice warrior. Ah, this shit's whack.
It was like blue hair to me as a warning of an SJW. And the thing was, is I will tell you, I have never seen in the history of watching trials, and we've seen a lot of trials go on, and I've been involved in multiple investigations as a person of interest, and also and my footage being used as evidence in trials, even that I don't want to be a part of. And I have never seen a judge so unprofessional, so clearly biased. She spoke to you in a patronizing tone, and I watched your face, Alex, in disbelief as you're just going. She's going, you can't say certain things. You can't claim anything as being evidence. You can't
She
claim
said,
this.
you can't say you're innocent. You can't say you gave us discovery.
Why? I mean, who appointed this? Do you know anything about this judge? Who appointed her? How she got there? What?
In
what's
Texas,
beyond her
they're
hair?
elected, but she was backed by a George Soros PAC.
So he's saying that they were she was backed up by George Soros' PAC, which is interesting. That wouldn't surprise me legitimately with the way things go. But so in Texas they are elected. They are not appointed. Judges are elected the same way here in the state of Florida.
Just
Okay.
like our district attorney allows people out of jail. The two guys on 6th Street sprayed bullets into a bunch of buildings and people. And because they were black, the district attorney let them out of jail the next day.
Wow, that's crazy actually.
Insanity. Wow. Interesting.
Hey, Blind Insanity, yeah, this is interesting.
In Austin. And so this is
That is sad. That's literally Austin, Texas. I don't care what color you are. If you're gonna do something stupid by opening fire with a gun and choose to shoot a bunch of buildings, you need to be held accountable for your illegal mischief and conduct. You seriously need to be held accountable.
George Soros, folks. This is people say, why don't you move? Our offices are here, our crew lives here. If we had the money, we would get out of Austin. Tonight,
Yeah, if you don't have the money, then you don't want to move.
nice town, nice people. My family's from here. But obviously, I've got to move to a red county somewhere or to Florida or something because when you're here, you are in the cult bubble.
Right. Well, you have $270 billion actually, according to the courts. So I think you'll be okay. You probably can move.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He has $270 billion. He'll be fine. He'll be able to move. He'll be good. He'll be good. He'll be good.
And that's what I think is crazy, though. I want to know this from them because theoretically speaking, Bank of America said that they were handing over bank records for people that were being investigated for January 6th. I do bank with Bank of America personally, or I did have business accounts then. And I know that the banks hand this over. There are ways to subpoena or
Bank of America's interesting. I don't really like them. Neither do I like Citibank, but that's where I'm financing my Mac through because Best Buy goes through Citibank.
to try to find out personal records. Where did they get this idea that they're telling the families that they're getting a payout of, 250, I think, 500 million? I've seen numbers so around the course. It's not unlike elites to lie about exact numbers. But where did this rumor come from, and why do you think they're pushing it?
Well, again, we gave them, because the courts ordered it, all the financials, all the everything, and then defaulted us and said we didn't give it to them, and then used twisted logic. So one number is all the supplements that we've bought over a decade, as I've been selling supplements, is over $100 million, because we don't buy crap. These are expensive for us to buy, high quality, high end supplements that don't have a lot of markup. And so they use gross numbers of.
They're using it based off of his profits of buying stuff to sell when he made little money off of that stuff. So they're making an assumption off of his so-called probably tax reports and tax stats and stuff like that, of stuff he's bought and stuff like that, which is not the fair way to go about judging someone's financial infrastructure, their full assets of finance
over the years. So if you're buying, $15 million of supplements a year, then that's going to be a big number. Also,
that is true. It is going to be a big number.
They take the same number for the last 4 years with us paying money on a free speech system to buy product from a supplier, and they call that money we kept. When I set up a supplement company 10 years ago or 11 years ago, we went to former FDA lawyers and we said, what do you do for liability? How do you set it up? They said, well, you want to set up your own company with your partners, and then that's FDA, follows FDA regulations and all the rest of it. Not FDA approves, they don't approve supplements, but you still follow the FDA testing as if it's a food regulation. I mean, this all gets into the weeds. And then what you do is that company contracts and buys the supplements, and then it sells them to the shopping cart free speech company, and that's two separate deals. And so all they do is they point at money paid from free speech systems to the supplement company that my dad and I have, and then they go, oh, that's pure profit, that's money he's diverting to himself, as if it's bad to make money. I wish we had that much money. So
wow. So like I just said they're judging based off of that, and I called it, because I did watch a good amount of this before streaming officially. I watched this on Saturday before I started streaming with Anthony, and then I got really ticked and did a I'm done stream over here.
That's why they talk about the last 4 years, there's a missing 61 million. And in a decade, there's 160 something million. And he's got, it's all just completely made up. Here's an example. We sell a lot of high quality storable foods. We make about 30% on them. And we might sell $30 million of food a year. Well, that's not $30 million, which would be fine if we did, but we have to pay for the crew, the cameras, the bandwidth, the websites, the legal, all of this by selling products. And why is that bad? They took our sponsors away over the years, so we sell products. So they try to make it dirty that we're selling snake oil, which is high quality products. Many of our products are just private label top brands that are sold in Whole Foods, you name it. And again, they play these semantical games with look, in all these years, $100 and something million got paid out to this company. Yeah. The company, the holding company that buys the product. And so that's the games they play.
Isn't it weird how all of a sudden the Hollywood establishment people have switched to saying vaccines are good and taking healthy supplements are bad because Alex Jones sells them? It's like it's gone totally backwards. But I get confused though, because I did watch that video of you in the court. You had an interaction with I believe it was the parents, right? Where you had can you tell me about this? Like you had a altercation that went on with the lawyer and they stopped you from speaking. What was going on there? What happened there?
Well, that's right. The corporate media spun it.
Not surprised corporate media likes to spin everything in life. I walked away, but I heard the stuff, but I'm going to catch up. So, he's selling supplements, and then, of course, you got Hollywood and everything like that since he's selling this. Oh, you need to take a vaccine instead of doing supplements and stuff like that. A vaccine ain't going to protect you from a virus. It may weaken the fact that you may have not as strong of a sickness from it, but it will not help. as much as natural supplements and stuff like that, helping boost your immune system to fight off a virus, a cold, and the flu, and the typical stuff you can get. I took natural stuff. I took, a good amount of natural stuff over the 2 weeks I was out sick with a very strong cold, but I did not catch it as I was getting sick. I caught it like 36 hours later, and by then I was really feeling like shit.
That I had an altercation with the family. Neil Heslin and his ex-wife, they had the son together that was killed at Sandy Hook. Scarlett Lewis came.
But let me catch up with the chat. Nikita writes in.
Nikita Smith, I somewhat have to disagree on judging financial circumstances based on what was fought, but there are certain reasons as to why I disagree with that, which I am not going to share on this platform.
Well, yeah, and that's completely understandable. But it varies based on case to case, Nikita. And your case may be different compared to the case at hand on this side.
Porcelain, hey fellas, been a while.
Hey, Porcelain writes in. Hey, fellows, it's been a while. Yeah, it has been.
Came over and shook my hand and said they forgave me.
It's only making people's health worse. At this point, you're probably better off taking supplements than going with the vaccine at all.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to be fair, the vaccine, and this goes for the flu vaccine, this goes for a lot of vaccines. And YouTube, I know you're looking at this. You're going to want to cancel me over this. The virus, it's a dead virus in the vaccine. It's literally the flu vaccine. It has a it's about 3 generations old from what I heard, but it's a 3-generation old flu. That dead virus, of course, but is in the it is in the vaccine to cause your cells to react to fighting off, to teach them to fight off that. That is the same way it will work like that with natural immunity. Now, some people do not have that, so they need that boost.
Add reaction.
But that's when they're immune compromised in older people, which I completely understand that.
Me. And I said, okay, well, I didn't try to hurt you on purpose, but I'm glad you forgive me. I'm sorry. Never said your name, but I didn't say that to him. I was like, okay, well, thank you. And then their lawyer jumps in and starts yelling at me, starting a fight, basically. And then the media spun it that I came over to them. They came over to me.
Yeah, but why was the lawyer trying to cut that off? I mean, I know it was like a total, like, they did not want you guys being in a somewhat human moment. I think it was one of the only human moments of the trial that I've seen so far.
Well, that's that ball guy, the same one that says he wants to shut us down. I mean, I'm a demon. I'm a horrible person. The truth is, I never said these people's name. I questioned an event like I questioned Jesse Smollett or, WMDs in Iraq. And so I tried to take...
I questioned January 6th. I questioned, the burning down buildings in BLM. I don't question that because I'm not surprised, because I saw that from my own eyes. I was watching an active Twitter feed go down of all that.
Nikita Smith, yeah, you do have a point.
Take the high road. I tried to apologize. I tried to be nice. And then they gave him $4 whatever million in actual damages, and on punitive 40-something million. But here's the big news story. A, I don't have that money. And B, and here's the key. Here's the key. A, I don't have that money. And B, it's all capped at less than $5 million under Texas law. So their big, almost $50 million verdict is...
It's out the window. Ouch. It's out the window unless you take it to the federal U.S. courts or the Supreme Court, or handle it not in Texas.
Capped at a fraction of that. But it doesn't matter, because a hole in the boat will sink your boat, whether it's a foot wide or 100 feet wide. We don't have that money.
True.
And so that's why I'm in bankruptcy.
Right, but
I simply said on the stand, I said I'm in bankruptcy.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it's a huge
said that on the
exaggeration.
stand.
It's a huge exaggeration. I do want to say that because I'm looking at the articles here, Alex, that, people are trying to say, Alex Jones is over, 43 million, more coming, 42.5. They don't even have the numbers exact on the headlines on my screen. I think...
I looked at them articles. Yeah, they did not have that headlines worked out good.
it's just to make it seem like a bigger deal. They know the law. They know that things are capped. Why tell families who may not know these things? Why tell them that they're going to be getting money that's not coming in? What
Lawyers, you can actually be in a lot of legal trouble
Screened it.
if these families actually do know law in any capacity, that they can screw you over too.
what is the reasoning behind this?
Well, I mean, $4 million isn't coming in because it's not there. And that's the thing. The lawyers on the other side, I think, really believe their own propaganda. Like, they think I really have all this money, or they think a trust has money, or they think, there's some kind of, and there's not. Because my job has not been trying to amass personal wealth. It's been trying to beat these people. I mean, we've spent, before they blocked us off of it, tens of millions of dollars on ads for the show, on Google Ads and other places. I mean, I got a nice house, a decent car, drive a Dodge car, got a Ford truck. I got a Ford truck, got a rifle shotgun, 4-wheel drive. But my goal.
Nice, typical stuff to have. I have a few things. I have, 2 houses on one property, and I live life and with good security, actually.
Goal was never, to just have a bunch.
I mean, man, I might as well enjoy it, because shit, I have less than 2 weeks to make a decision, I guess. Nah, psych. Good luck.
Of money. I really started this trying to beat these people. They tried to change the subject. They've used class envy. Instead of us worrying about Bill Gates or worried about Klaus Schwab or worried about the New World Order, trying to push new lockdowns or things that are on the horizon. It's all about Alex Jones got rich off disinfo and rich off Sandy Hook. No, barely ever talked about it. They have attached themselves to me and to the populist American movement, and the globalists are making me the face of populism so that they can then demonize Americans in general. And so that's the process that's taking place right now.
Yeah, I do notice, though, that as YouTube has been clamping down on pretty much everybody that I know, from people as innocent as Allie Beth Stuckey. I don't know if you're familiar with her, and her podcast, Relatable, which is probably the most kosher podcast that exists outside of maybe Ben Shapiro or legitimately a church itself. She's getting videos removed for misinformation, for telling the truth about prosecutions in January 6th. And so the media is, anti-supplement, health, pro-vaccine, pro-incarceration. I mean, it feels like, I don't know what country we're living in anymore, but I know you personally, Alex, and I will say this,
I wonder the world, like worldwide, what world are we living in?
You've been a very good friend. You've even made peace with Glenn Beck and Glenn Beck with you. These are different times, and I do not know you to be anything but.
I knew him and Glenn Beck were not getting along at all. Like they were totally against each other. But for him to backtrack and make peace with Glenn Beck, holy shit.
But loving and gracious and generous. I mean, I don't think you have $4 million. I know that, we've gotten lunch together. You've paid for it. You're more than willing to say hello, to people. I've had you on the show a few times, been on your show a few times. What does the media get from painting you as a boogeyman that you're not, while trying to paint people like Biden or Pelosi as being saints and heroes, when those are the truly evil people using taxpayer money to corrupt our entire institutions and destroy our nation? What do they get from making you the center of attention as the evil overlord?
Well, Elijah, that's what this is all about. You have the corporate media that is incredibly unpopular, again, the most unpopular institution in America, and it's the same around the world. They have no credibility. Everybody's turning against them. And so they are trying to outlaw independent thinking and questioning their narratives. And I saw Dan Rather and everybody weighing in on this kangaroo trial, again, where the judge found me guilty. And she has another trial coming up with.
We have another message that came in from Nikita. If I can get voiceover to read it.
Honestly, the way things are going, the world is already going downhill. And I don't think it's going to go uphill anytime soon.
No, it's just rolling down that hill. Literally. Yeah, I agree, Nikita.
More fam.
It's gonna go to a snap, and then we're shit's just gonna hit the fan.
And then another trial where I've been already found guilty in Connecticut. This has all been.
I think his mic is actually crackling and whatever. I don't think he's actually clipping that mic because it's just weird that mic's acting up.
Highly coordinated. And they admit now, as you read earlier out of the New York Post, this is the model to silence independent populist speech for everybody.
Yeah, I'm looking right now at this, and what's going on here is that, legitimately speaking, if you type in Alex Jones, not only does it have with your title, you're more hyphenated than a black disabled queer person, you know, with so many things in your intro. It's
Wow.
says you're alt-right, you're conservative, you're far-right, which is all conflicting definitions. Then you go down and it's just conspiracy theorists, stop the lies, how he got... I mean, I can see this. There's no information about you. It's literally just a hit piece, a Google. You look your name and it's like, how many times can we try to discredit this person? How many times can we try to destroy him? Meanwhile, they literally lie on behalf of the people.
You know how you destroy them? You do one piece, then you shut up. But otherwise, the media keeps talking about them and keeps having fun with it to the point that it's just it just keeps spiraling, keeps having fun.
Bombing kids overseas, you know, using our money to fund wars like in Ukraine that the Americans are not interested in, sending our diplomats to Taiwan to trigger our political enemies so she can check on her investments. And it just doesn't make sense to me, Alex. It doesn't make sense unless, like what you were saying, and I believe this to be true, that the reason why they're coming after you in the Sandy Hook thing is they say things like this. I love this. They go,
Damn.
Nikita Smith, the thing with the media and the thing with a lot of people is that they think they know everything and they always have to jump to conclusions about what is really going on.
Without getting the facts. Yep.
so Alex Jones accepted or finally says that Sandy Hook happened when you've been saying this for years, and it's just so that they can try to justify their years previous of all of their slander, their abuse, saying like, well, we had to abuse him, we had to persecute him because we had to basically flog him in the public so that he would confess to his crimes and his sins and admit Sandy Hook happened, when in reality, that's not news. You've been saying that for years, and you admitted that you got things wrong. But they do it so that the public goes, oh, you're justified in your persecution of Alex. It's a good thing you did that because we got the right result. That's what I think it's about. I think that's the whole point about the mislabeling, the misguiding, is so that it justifies to the public, hey, we're going to punish the bad people so that you don't have to. And I think it's just a complete mockery of justice, a mockery of our institutions.
Well, that's right.
It's persecution.
They're setting themselves up as the oracles, as the judges, as the arbiter of what can be said and what can't be said.
Yeah, I have to agree with that they target him just because to censor him, to shut him down, and you know, for the most part it works. It worked. But, you know, you can only do that so much and so long before it blows up in your face.
And, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I was on Joe Rogan's show 5 years ago, apologizing and saying I think Sandy Hook really happened, but there were a lot of anomalies and a lot of stuff did get covered up. And
I was too young at the time for the Sandy Hook thing, to be honest. And I was being a kid, so I didn't personally care. Not to say I'm selfish, I was a kid. The nice, lovely thing of being a kid. And, you know, word for word, because I was, like I said, being a child and being young and dumb, it wouldn't surprise me, but, you know, with a scandal, some people see it in their own perspective.
Police reports don't add up. And then
I haven't looked at police reports, so after that I may have that same conclusion, that it don't add up.
headlines everywhere. Associated Press, Jones under pressure finally admits he lied. I didn't lie. I questioned something.
Lying is one thing, questioning is another. Don't get it wrong.
I said I didn't know what happened. Just like I said, Jussie Smollett's story doesn't sound accurate the first day it broke, and I was right then. Many times we're right, but most of the time we're not even speculating. 99% of what we do is just give our commentary on things.
Man, Nikita and whoever else is watching, I swear, because Nikita's the moderator, but regardless, I swear, me speculating about the blind community and their lovely shit, especially the video I did reacting to Matt's stuff. If you want to go check that out, you can go check that out, Matt. I'm done. I must have been lying in that video too, because there was some speculation, questioning.
That are already happening, or play a clip of Joe Biden saying one thing and then saying another, or a press secretary saying one thing and saying another. 99% of what we do is not our giving our opinion. It's us analyzing what's actually happening. So look, they can't put the genie back in the bottle. They can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. The people have broken with the establishment.
Like, this, what he just said, literally, this is what I'm doing right now to him. It's that same thing.
They think if they can torture and attack populist leaders, that somehow they'll gain credibility back, or somehow everybody else will be scared. And I'm telling you, it's having the opposite effect.
Well, and I got to understand this. How is it not?
The people that like to stand their ground are going to be more rebellious against these type of evil Knievels, and it's just a never-ending conflict war that's just, I don't know, going to just get even more shittier.
Free speech to question things and get it wrong in the middle of an ongoing investigation when the mainstream media does this, not only by accident, but intentionally all the time. Like, they'll just
Oops. Not surprised either that they do it intentionally.
lie until they're proven liars, and then they go, oh, well, now we got to change our narrative. And they still lie and call January 6th an insurrection. So it's like, why is it that they're not held accountable and they're protected?
I question that it was an insurrection. I seriously doubt it, but, that's hearsay, theresay.
By free speech, First Amendment, but you're not.
Well, that's a great example. Remember how they said Trump grabbed the wheel of the beast of the Secret Service limo and tried to make him go to January 6th at the Capitol. And it came out that was a total lie. None of it happened.
Ouch. Ouch. Damn.
They don't care. Just like they said, oh my gosh, you think Hunter Biden laptop's big? We have Alex Jones's phone, and January 6th committee wants it.
Yep. Distractions. Diverting distractions. And then going and raiding Trump's house. His estate here in Florida, the Largo Estate area. Yeah, that's lovely. Considering the fact that I hear through rumor speculations through some sources that they more than likely, if not probably, had no warrants for reason of cause to search the house and the necessary safes inside the house. But that's a whole can of worms I'd have to get into with doing my research.
The next day in court, we say, we've looked at the file. It's late 2019, early 2020. It was part of Jones's discovery. It was the raw text. We handed over the search terms, but we actually sent them the raw text. And then there's nothing in the raw text. Where's the smoking gun? There's nothing. One text message that we didn't turn over because it was Paul Watson just saying the word Sandy Hook. Had nothing to do with it. Nothing to hide. It's one thing if the cops see you run for no reason and they pull you over, there's a dead woman in the trunk. And then you've got scratches on your chest and they find your skin under her fingernails. You're getting charged with murder.
Oops. Mike's crackling, but yeah, I agree. I agree with that. If that evidence looks appealing enough, like that scenario, you're going to get arrested.
Insanity. I do remember being really young and seeing the Sandy Hook shooting on the news. Blind
Oh,
insanity.
wow.
Okay, so, ellipsis. I question many things every day.
Yep, exactly my point. We question things so much, many days. Man, we must be, us as a society, the way this court case is unfolding, we all must be a bunch of liars. We must be lying to ourselves. I mean, I question people. I question things. I question life. I question the future of life. I must be... I mean, hell. I'm going to be $1 million I'll have $1 million by next week. Yeah, that's lying, because I won't. I know I won't. Unless I win the lottery, which I don't do that. I've never gambled. And, it's just one of them speculation things where I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
When they pulled me over and opened the trunk, there was nothing in the trunk.
Wow.
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand. What is it that the court said? Like, what did you say exactly? I mean, you could be careful because obviously we're on public platforms on YouTube, and they're going to do everything they can. People want to find reasons to not allow content to
Let's be
exist.
clear. Exactly. They will edit what we say. A whole bunch in court, they would.
YouTube normally does not edit what you upload in most cases. Now, if he's saying that they'll pull this down and edit this and then change it, yes. And that's why I live streamed, because I could have just sat down at this desk, recorded this video, and then send it up to YouTube.
Play 5-second clips, Elijah. That's why I won't even say what I said. I'll just say Hillary Clinton played 10-second edited clips on national TV ads running against Trump of me out of context, which I had a right to say, but it's out of context.
I saw that.
And then that's what they sued me for.
I did not know they actually sued him. Wow.
So they sued you
That's
for
it.
out of
That's
context
all.
clips.
Damn. That's fucked up.
Out of context clips. Again, I never said these people's names. They have an FBI agent in Connecticut. Part of the group suing me in Connecticut. That trial starts soon.
FBI. Snore. I don't trust our FBI.
He's suing me for millions of dollars. I don't even know who he is.
I don't trust the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Oops. You don't know you're a component when they're suing you? It says it on papers, I'm pretty sure.
Well,
I never even said his name.
I don't know
First
if you
time I
saw
ever heard
this.
about him was when I got served with a lawsuit.
Well, I want to say this. I don't know
Wow.
if you saw about this, but this is a crazy story. I mean, when you're talking about like real issues, did you hear about at the Trump rally about the Democratic operative that was found with an illegal firearm impersonating an FBI agent in Washington, D.C.? And I want to bring this up. You guys can look at the story for yourself. I'll be talking about it tonight on my live stream at 8 p.m. on Slightly Offensive channel. But most importantly, they go,
Yeah, that.
you can't question anything, right? This is what I want to talk to you about. You can't question anything, and you have to get it right all the time. Well, we clarify
Oh no, I can't question anything. Well, damn it. I'm questioning what I'll have for dinner tomorrow night. Or no, later today. Oh no, I'm questioning that. Oh no, I'm being bad. I need to stop. I need to stop. No, I cannot question that. No, stop thinking, brain. Jesus Christ. See how stupid that is?
the media questions, and they never clarify until we
Media questions? Oh, that's perfectly legal. Humanity questions like us, the average Joe and Bo, well, we're screwed.
force them to, and half the time they still won't admit it. But also, weird anomalies do happen. And while we're not questioning Sandy Hook on this show at all, let's bring up a couple examples. Like I just said, you find an actual Democrat employee posing as an officer, going through a chase, getting arrested at a Trump rally for the election. So you have that's a very confusing story, which already we're saying, hey, there's some fishy stuff going on with law enforcement and the elections and things. And they go, nope, you're not allowed to talk about it. But more and more the evidence comes out. And then you go, hey, with mass shootings, it's confusing. And they go, well, you're not allowed to talk about this one. Then you go, but what about Las Vegas? What about Uvalde? Why was there more officers at Uvalde than there were people who defended the Alamo? By
Oops, you're being bad. You cannot question that.
almost 200%, and yet they couldn't take down one shooter for over an hour. I just have questions on why these things are happening, and in the midst
And
of
by the way-
discovery, I'll get it wrong.
They said that during this kangaroo trial where I was, again, guilty until proven guilty, not innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent, guilty until proven guilty. They said, oh, I bet you're even going to question Uvalde. Well, we have the mayor saying he believes there's a cover-up. We have the head of the state police saying we've been lied to about what happened. I'm not saying children didn't die there, but when we see crazy stuff like this, we have a right to say what we want. If I want to say that space aliens killed the kids at Uvalde, it's not true. It's my opinion. I have a right to say it. We have to trust the public enough to be able to watch what they want to watch, listen to what they want to listen to.
Amen. Amen. That includes the blindsided media. That's why I left that show alone, because I disagreed with what Fraker did, but, you know, I don't want to dive into that. But y'all know my stance on that. And, you know, I left it alone. They do certain things. If it's something I disagree with, I just change the channel. I just do something else. I do other things. They haven't been doing their shows in a while, but yeah.
But the real threat is an establishment that says you're too dumb to be able to hear what somebody else has to say about this. And so you're absolutely right.
I want to ask you personally, if you can clarify on the interview, what are the top three media lies or the top three lies that we haven't discussed or any other information that you want to clarify from the trial that probably hasn't been able to be clarified?
I mean, first off, I was found guilty by the judge, unprecedented. Secondarily, I did provide them all the damn discovery. They just claim we didn't do it right, which is true. And
We have some comments, but I'll let Alex finish.
And I never said these people's names, and I don't live off Sandy Hook. I didn't make money off Sandy Hook. People know I question the establishment. People know I'm on the globalist payroll, so they tune in because they understand I'm a populist champion. And so they're simply having a temper tantrum over the fact that the public doesn't trust them, the public doesn't like them, and their Humpty Dumpty has fallen off the wall. And
Oh, that's awesome.
he's had a great fall.
Damn, get wrecked.
And all their propaganda and all their BS and all their intimidation, all their bullying can't ever put their Humpty Dumpty back together again. But I'll tell you what,
Damn! Fucking get molested.
they're really mad at me, Elijah.
Blind Nikita Smith.
Hold on.
Blind insanity. I've never really trusted the government. In my opinion, it's too big and serves its own interest too much. And I hope I don't get censored for saying that LOL.
You won't. Not over here. Not on my end. No, you won't. Because I agree. The government's gotten too big. It's gotten too big for itself.
Nikita Smith. Amen to that. 3 exclamation marks.
Yep. You know, our grandparents and our parents say we need to wake up and look at our generation. Well, this has been going on, I would say, about maybe 50 to 70 years. 50 to 75 years that this government slowly slid itself into play, slid it into things, and slid everything under their radar and our radar to eventually be like, surprise! We're now too big, you can't stop us. No, there's ways to stop it, but I don't want to lose my show.
And that's because I've been exposing the globalist New World Order corporate.
Also known as the liberal, they want to transform the world from a liberal standpoint for the last 80 years, which is the last straw, to a democratic world order.
Takeover plan for almost 30 years.
That's their plan for the last 30 years. But it's the liberal world order has been in effect for like the last 80 years. It came into effect at the end of World War II.
And because I know what I'm talking about, and because we've been successfully rallying not just Americans, but folks in Europe, people in South America, folks in Africa, everywhere with the truth. And we have this book that starts shipping here in just a few weeks, The Great Reset and the War for the World, that is the master plan, Death Star plans of the globalist and what they're planning for you and your family, and how they're taking full authoritarian control with their cashless society, their carbon taxes, their social credit scores, all of it. It is in the book, The Great Reset, available at Amazon.com. It's
Screen them.
I haven't even looked at it, The Great Reset. That would be an interesting book. I'd like to get it as a digital book and, you know, like listen to it or read it, because that will be something worth looking into just to see what is in that book, because it piques my curiosity. It honestly does.
025.
Now, I'm not saying go buy it or whatever, because I haven't looked at it myself, but I'd be curious what is said in that book about, you know, the economy, the governments, and everything like that.
in the top 30 books right now. It's in over 20 top charts. Here it is right here, but we do an overhead shot. But here it is in world history, U.S. history, more than 20 different areas. It is number one, ahead of Obama and all the rest of them. So I hope people get The Great Reset and the War for the World at Amazon.com or InfoWarsStore.com. You can get signed copies because it really is an important book. It needs to be on every bookshelf, and it's a culture war frontline issue. This book, owning this book, sharing this book, get it.
Yeah, well, He's promoting his book right now. Not just him. Glenn Beck worked on that too. The Great Reset.
Battle plan, it's laid out here.
Yeah, and you should check it out. I actually just got done with an interview with Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, who we talked about the Great Reset as well. And this is a sitting Congresswoman talking about how, Klaus Schwab, she said, they're talking about it, they're admitting it. So if you want to know if it's a conspiracy or if it's real, you either A, can believe it's a conspiracy and you can keep getting screwed over, or B, you could be prepared for what's happening. Because some of this stuff we're not going to be able to really stop unless there's some serious action.
See, I don't really personally want to be screwed over by any governments, to be honest. So I might actually look into it. Not because I'm a conspiracy theorist. It's just I want to see what it says. Curiosity, questioning. Oh no, I'm lying. Oops. Shit. Shouldn't admit that public.
But at least you can be better prepared. Make sure you check it out. The link's in the description, by the way, if you're watching. Also, if you're listening, don't forget this is an audio-only podcast, and you can get us on Spotify, on Apple iTunes, on Google Play.
You could also check them out. The link is in the description, too, over here, to check out Slightly Offensive, the YouTube channel, where they really talk about offensive material. If you're into that, a little bit more. It's about as offensive, if not a little bit more, than this talk show.
Wherever you can get audio only, and if you're listening and you're one of those people that are listening, the link should be in the description as well. Make sure you pick up a copy for yourself and inform yourself on the realities that are going on, because the forces of evil have aligned and the darkness is shrouding the earth. But those who are fighting for truth and the light of God, and the people who want what's right, and people who are at least God fearing, even if they're not God believing, but realize that the Creator may exist, we are all coming together and we are fighting against this totalitarian, technocratic feudalism that is trying to take over our world. And you can find out a lot about that in the book that Alex just let out in the description. Alex, before we jump off here, I do want to just clarify something. They're saying InfoWars is over. This is done. Alex Jones is going to be gone.
All right, here's the moment of truth about his InfoWars. Is his thing, is it going to go kaput?
We won. We beat him, and they're laughing, and their goblin voices, in their cave meetings, and they're
Where's the sound effect for goblin voices? God damn it, laughing. I need that.
celebrating the demise. Is InfoWars over, and is Alex Jones going away?
Elijah, I was getting remarried 6 years ago in Hawaii. And I told my wife, I said, I want to write a book a year. I want to make a film a year. But I really want to just slow down and be more intellectual and not just do 3-4 hours a day because it's killing me. And I promised her, I said, within 5 years, even though I love my crew, I'm going to find people to replace me if they want to keep it going. But I'm going to go off the air within 5 years. And I shook her hand and I promised her to do it. She wasn't asking me to. I said, I want to do art and I want to travel. And she was pregnant at the time. I said, I want to spend time with our new child that is a girl, Veronica. And I said, I think I've done my work. The New World Order is going to have its operation, but we've really warned people, and that was my job. Now they can decide whether they want to be slaves to the globalist New World Order. It's coming for our children, or whether they want to stand up and say no. And then they deplatformed us. Then they debanked us, then they lied about us, then they demonized us. And so I told her about 3 years ago, I said, honey, I'm going to go back on that promise. She said, I understand. I said, because you see how they lie about me now and deplatform me where I can't talk, then they steal my identity. I can say whatever they want about me when I don't have a voice. So I said, I've got to stay on air just because I can't allow my identity to be stolen. Plus, the New World Order came in even harder than I thought it would. We have responsibility. She said, absolutely, I don't want you to ever quit. But now that they've done this, and now that they have said they're going to divide up the corpse of InfoWars, and they're going to destroy me, and they're going to silence me, even though I'm exhausted, I am up here all day today doing interviews, all day going to shoot a special report, and I'm going to write more books and make more films and work harder than I've ever done, because I understand that they see us as a threat. Because we are a threat to tyrants and the globalist pedophiles and the New World Order. And I know that for whatever reason, we've had probably the greatest effect of anybody other than President Trump or President Bolsonaro or President Orban. And so I'm not perfect, but I never got things wrong on purpose. I've been way more right than wrong. And So now I've got to really go to the next level.
Despite his conspiracy theories, the things that he says speculation wise before, a lot of his stuff that he said, even about the COVID stuff, about how there'll be massive lockdowns and everything in 2020, and he said this in late 2019, and he got it all correct. And I thought, and I'm over here sitting here behind the desk over here because my father was telling me, and I'm like, this guy blowing smoke up at my ass, blow me please, because then there ain't gonna be no lockdowns. Well, look at what happened. Fuck, I was wrong.
Voiceover on.
But
YouTube.
that's what I get for being in denial, but at the same time telling a conspiracy theory to go eat it.
Blind insanity. I've had people look at me like I'm crazy because I try to get all sides of an issue before debating it.
Exactly, so have I. So this whole COVID thing has actually taught me a interesting thing. Do not believe one thing, but look at everything as a general spectrum and look at, everything. You may have a guy that's saying the freaking water's turning the freaking frogs gay, or the damn water's turning the damn frogs gay. City water is. And then at the same time, he does that for comedy, but, there are things that he says are legitimately a reality.
Because I enjoyed being on air 5 years ago. I enjoyed being on air 10 years ago. I still enjoy a good interview. I still enjoy taking calls. But I'm really sick of all day reading about the New World Order and the crimes they've committed. When you ask me what are some of the bad things the globalists have done while they try to demonize you, I actually got like a headache when you said that, because I could talk for hours about all the horrible things they're doing. And I finally got to a point where I'm like, I can't focus on these people anymore. But
he's gonna have to focus on himself. He can't focus on all this toxicity.
Nikita Smith, I have to say, I think I learned the same lesson you did.
Yeah.
We have to. And that's why so many good people just tap out and say, I'm done. It's not because they're bad, it's because it's overwhelming. But it's only going to get more overwhelming.
See, there's my coat. There's my knock to me. I tapped out with this whole Matt and Donald Meares thing because it's mind-nerving and bothering to me to the point that I'm done. I've tapped out. I'm not bad in the same regards of fighting with them. I'm done with it. I've tapped out. It's time for me to go and do my own thing.
Until we finally say no. They're not going to leave us alone. They're not going to go away. They want our children. They want our lives. They want our souls. They want our minds. They want everything we own. They say we'll own nothing and have nothing and be happy. And so it's kind of like a bully starting to fight with you. You don't want it. You weren't looking.
I like how he slammed his hand. That was awesome.
So it's kind of like a bully. They say we'll own nothing and have nothing and be happy. And so it's kind of like a bully starting to fight with you. You don't want it. You weren't looking for it. But once the fight starts, it feels pretty good. And so I am being rejuvenated by this 2-week trial.
Yeah, I would see that, because when I get in the middle of a lot of that stuff and they actually throw my name in the middle of this dog pen, I get very excited because I'm like, yeah, yeah, interesting. I like to see what other people think.
By them lying and by them rigging it and by them editing things and by them taking things out of context and by them giggling and laughing, I was exhausted coming to the office at 10 a.m. this morning. And then I saw clips I hadn't even seen yet of the lawyers for the Democratic Party laughing and literally saying, we're going to divide up his corpse. Well, rumors of my demise have been greatly exaggerated, as the great Mark Twain said. And Mark Twain also said in the beginning of Patriots, a scarce man, hated, feared, and scorned. What is the exact Mark Twain quote? Mark Twain, in the beginning of Patriots, a scarce man, hated, feared, and scorned. But in time, the timid join him, because then it costs nothing to be a patriot. In time, when his cause succeeds, the timid join him, because then it costs nothing to be a patriot. And see, normally, I used to have an almost photographic memory, but I'm so exhausted that sometimes my memory fails. Guys, pull up the Mark Twain in the beginning of Patriots, a scarce man quote, because I want to read that here, and I also want to read to viewers and listeners on the great Elijah Schaffer show. He has courage. He's having me on. It's like George Orwell said, in a world of universal deceit,
I've had a business week, like 3 weeks, one time working nonstop to the point that I'm just so worn out. And that was when I was back in school. I had job work to do, but then I had schooling to do. And when you spend nights where you're sleeping maybe 5 hours per night and you're running around for 15, 12 to 18 hours per day, your memory starts losing it. You start losing things, you start losing thoughts and stuff like that. And there is some stuff that my mind is foggy about, considering this year has been so hectic for me.
telling the truth is a revolutionary act. And it's really that simple. It's like the emperor's new clothes. But while they're trying to pull that up, I'll get the quote right this time. In the beginning, a patriot's a scarce man, hated, feared, and scorned. But in time, when his cause succeeds, the timid join him, because then it costs nothing to be a patriot. And so I think at the end of the day, that's really what this is all about. And there's also the great quote that I'll paraphrase of Teddy Roosevelt about the man in the arena. And whether you want to be in the arena or not, folks, you are in the arena, and the globalists are coming after you and your family. And rolling over isn't going to give you any security or safety.
And they're not going to come at you like they're going to come to your house. They're coming at you in your taxes and stuff like that. There's the quote if any of my visual audience wants to read it. They put it up on screen. Let's see if we have any more chat. No, as of now. Blind Insanity and Nikita are talking. And
you can decide to give up. You can decide to roll over. But the children demand and deserve you stand up for them. So you don't have an excuse to quit. You don't have an excuse to go away. You don't have an excuse to hide out in the countryside, folks, like I'd love to do as well. We have a responsibility to stand up for the innocent because God's watching. And let me tell you, God's real. And you will be cut off from God eternally if at this moment in this universe you don't stand and fight.
I agree. And truly, I want to put this out to everybody. It is always coming with a cost. And this channel itself is always on the border of being attacked. They've come for Alex Jones. They've, temporarily suspended Turning Point's channel. They've come after all of our Blaze TV channels in the last few days. The hit articles, they trickle down, folks. They trickle down. It's not just Trump. It's not just Alex Jones.
It's me. I've been shut down when me and Justin did a stream back a few months ago. If any of y'all remember, we were shut down. We had one of our streams go down back, I want to say it was March. It was about the whole COVID stuff involving the vaccinations and stuff like that. We got shut down for medical misinformation when it wasn't medical misinformation.
It's not just Turning Point. It's not just Elijah Schaffer.
I was going to fight it, but it was too damn tiring.
As we go
They are
down,
arresting people that put up a transgender flag, Nazi flag in the UK. I mean, what you see in the UK is coming here.
It is coming, and I just want everyone to be prepared and to genuinely be praying and embracing and supporting the people and yourselves and your family, but most importantly, take care of your spirit. And just like I am, it's been in a dark place. I'm returning to God. We need to return to the place of the Holy Spirit and to the resting place. I want to remind you guys that to get Alex Jones' book, also click the links below as we have a new clips channel for this show. You can find clips of this interview that will be up in the coming week as well. You can also subscribe at blazetv.com/Elijah to get $10 off a subscription, because if this interview makes it on the internet, then good for the world if we can keep this up. If it does get taken down, then you can find it at blazetv.com/Elijah. Make sure that you go there, that you look for it and support at Infowars.com.
And you can't shut down Blaze TV because it's got its own dedicated servers.
Voiceover, Nikita Smith. Actually, that was back in February.
Thank you. Yeah, it was back in February when I got shut down. I remember that now. Thank you, Nikita. Yeah, I got shut down for it. I wanted to dispute it. Justin was like, "Nah, you could if you want to. It's your channel," but I just wouldn't waste my time. It's whatever. I was like, you know what? On second thought, I'll sit there and just let it rip for now, because it is what it is.
Our band.video or whatever new address that they continue to support Alex and his mission and his crew. You remember they have other shows as well. The American Journal, Owen Schroyer has a show as well. And they do lots of great stuff with many contributors and articles on their website. Make sure to support them all.
So that's the ending of that. we'll open this up for some commentary, questions, discussion, and stuff like that. So this is just the time now for y'all to just interact and stuff like that. And, you know, just chill for a little bit before I end this.
Voiceover on Finder. Desktop. Drake. Trophies Instrumental. Apple MP4 Audio.
You know what?
MS Colberly.
Tradition. We didn't do it.
MS Colberly. You are currently on attack. Forty 48 seconds. 49 seconds.
Shut up.
Toggle elapsed time.
Shut up, voiceover. Alright, so I'll be curious how that
MS
sounded
Colberly, MP3
on
audio.
the actual Mac speakers because I didn't have it hooked up through my normal aux system and stuff like that. So we got Insanity.
When COVID went down, I realized what kind of a broken world we're in.
That, yeah, you weren't the only one.
Nikita Smith, I think COVID is what really opened up some people's eyes to the world we live in.
True. Because it was okay back before COVID, but COVID was the proverbial straw in the camel's back to break it, and then that's when the whole world started going down the shitter. And before then, I knew the world was kind of messed up, and it was getting interesting, and, you know, there was things that were really not good. And I noticed that it was about when Trump started taking office. That's when it started really, really starting to slightly tip. But COVID was that tipping point because, you know, there was already, you know, other stuff going on. But then the COVID stuff just made it extremely obvious.
Blind insanity, for example, all I ever saw were the death counts. Nobody talked about those who recovered.
Yeah, they were very obscured if you were in other states. Because, like, the state of Florida, the health department for the state of Florida showed how many people recovered. And there were so many people that recovered that I literally did not take it serious. And like-minded Democratic friends of mine blasted my ass for not taking it serious. And I'm like, why can I not take it serious when you look at the true raw data of survival rates and stuff like that, and it shows that like 80%, 85% of, you know, say 20,000 people, 95% of 20,000 people that were impacted by the virus, they survived. So I'm like, you know, 95%, you have that 5%, yes, that's horrible, and I get that no one should die, but you multiply that to 40,000, then you're at a around 98% survival rate, and then, you know, it really only affects people like, you know, people that are 65 and older, or have weakened immune systems. You know, you look at the logic of it.
Nikita Smith, I always knew that we lived in a messed up world, but when you're younger, you sort of have this innocence of not really knowing what's going on.
True.
Add reaction button.
That is true. You have this innocence of looking at things and then not realizing how really truly fucked up the world is at the hands. And with Justin Trudeau as as Canada's nice, lovely, as we like to call him, the United States president, we really got to see his true colors. I'm pretty sure, Nikita, you're excited to know about that as a Canadian. And then here in the United States, we got to see someone with dementia that is not fit for office, not just take office, but stay in office when he's clearly incompetent. And they were all, but back in starting in 2016 when Trump was right as he was selected as the next president because Americans voted for him, before he was sent in, they were already trying to file papers to get him impeached because you know why? The guy actually was level-headed. Yes, he's a dick to things, media and other people, and he may seem like a dickhead, but that's typical of New Yorkers. They're dickheads. That's a stereotype of New York. But regardless, he didn't put up with people's bullshit, and I'm gonna stick with a man that knows how to do economy stuff correctly with common sense, and at the same time knows how to get shit done. I'm not gonna sit there with someone that eventually, when they take office within about 2 years, we have a spiked 9.0 inflation, but an average as of the beginning of August 10th through August 11th of a 8.5% inflation. It's killing me.
Screen dimmed.
And when you affect me, then well, that I'm sorry, but your politics shit ain't gonna cut it.
Blind Insanity, 2020 aged me about 10 years. Perhaps it shouldn't have, but it did.
How old are you, Blind Insanity? Just out of curiosity. Damn, 10 years. Ouch, that's rough. It just made me realize. 2020 made me realize who I was as a person, and mentally I wasn't doing well. So I needed. It made me realize that I needed to get help eventually for mental crap. And I was completely dead set on not getting mental help about some stuff, and I was more close to not speaking to certain people and just keeping things to myself. But as time went on, I realized I'm like, bro, I need to A, be responsible, B, do my own thing, and C, worry about myself. And it's just one of the things that led to that, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Voiceover on.
There's this random person that's going around following me on Twitter now. They followed both my Twitter pages at once, and they're called
Link. Grass is green. At grass.
Grass is Green.
Trump takes the Fifth Amendment in New York Attorney General's investigation. Voiceover off.
Trump apparently took the Fifth Amendment in New York General's attorney thing, so which he has legal grounds to do, take the Fifth
Voiceover
Amendment.
on. Nikita Smith at Blind Insanity. Nikita Smith at Blind Insanity. I think it aged us all, not just you and I.
It aged us all. Yeah, it is. Yeah. In some capacity, it aged us either immaturely or maturely. It's really it's a very interesting clause.
Menu extras. OBS Studio. Menu. Thursday. iStat menu status. Download 36.20 kilobytes per second. Upload 402.69 kilobytes. iStat menu status. CPU core average 124 degree. Menu extra. iStat menu status. Memory pressure 14%. iStat menu status. CPU 26%. Menu extra. Left side 3,147 RPM. Right side 3,378 RPM.
And if you wonder why my fans are so high, but my Mac's running so cool at 124 degrees Fahrenheit, is because of the fact that I have a fan curve set to go up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit to max out the fans, because yeah, that, so I don't have no thermal throttling.
Blind Insanity. I'm 16 now.
Damn, that mean you would be 26 if it aged you. That, geez, you and Alfonso are the same age. Holy cow.
Voiceover off.
Yeah, that's crazy. That really is. Damn. I'm 20 right now, and I swear it aged me like a 30-year-old, 35-year-old. Because it's just one of them things where I'm like, wet Jesus. I cannot believe it. I really can't. Yeah, to think the last year of my life, my 2020 year of my life, I turned into a legal adult, 18. That was not supposed to happen, or it was fucked up and could not really celebrate it that well. Well, I live in the state of Florida, so I was able to travel freely and do things, so, well, travel freely. I put that with, a ellipsis kind of thing, because yeah, that shit is poor.
Voiceover. Tony finally got 5 grams plus. 0.48. Voiceover off.
Nice. Yeah, 5G Plus slaps. 5G Plus is the mid-band for AT&T cellular. So yeah. We have it around here. Well, not where I live, but we have it in some locations throughout like Jacksonville and whatever. When I'm up north, Jacksonville. But yeah, 2020 was one hell of a year.
Dis 87, 81, 38%, 50%, 56%, 50%.
That year sucked ass. 2021 was okay. 2022 sucked for me personally, but and then apparently the 2022/2023 school year around here locally, they're treating COVID just like normal, like a normal cold, where if you have a fever, you can't be back in school 24 hours after. You have to have at least 24 hours of clearance after having your fever and symptoms, and on top of that, you they're not quarantining people now if someone was near someone that contracted COVID. So they're literally treating it like the typical cold. I'm like, bruh, come on.
Voiceover. Nikita Smith. I've heard a lot of people say I was mature for my age even before the pandemic, and now people are starting to make a point of telling me this more often.
You are, but me and you, Nikita, we're both about the same age. But you know, you have to be. You know, some people are like that. Some people are just downright stupid. And I'm moving a cup around, but still. And then some people are just downright really smart.
Add reaction button.
And you know, it's just
Voiceover
it's just one of them vicious cycle battles. I do like the fact now that me personally don't have to get up in the
Voiceover on.
morning. I really like that now because I can stream whenever I want. Enjoy them nice internet speeds. Period.
Light insanity. Even today I look around and see people who haven't mentally aged a day. And I have to ask how. 2021 wasn't much better. The school year sucked.
Yeah, it sucked to a slight degree around here. It was really interesting. But like I said, this year they're treating COVID just like the cold. I was looking at our county's superintendent briefing, and I'm like, well, shoot, come on. So, at least my friends that I know that are seniors, that I'm friends with, they're having their senior year like normal. They don't have to worry about any COVID restrictions. So that's fun. I'm like, yay, someone at least gets some type of normalcy, slightly. But let's hope that the senior trips that they go on are not gay like they were for
Light insanity.
other people.
Nikita Smith. 2020 sucked for me not only just because of COVID, but for personal reasons as well.
It was a shitty year all around, to be fair. 2020 was just a pretty interesting year. It just was one of them even years that had a lot of odd. Excuse me. Had a lot of odd. This year was really weird because during the summer I've never had them, but I got a cold. I got an actual like severe cold in the middle of July. Like in the middle, like about July 15th. And I never get a cold in the summer. Never. And I'm like, what the hell? I got it, and it just, oh god, it took the wind out of me. And then it was so bad that I had a lot of congestion for quite a while. And then I still, to this day, have a little bit of congestion left. It's not like I don't and stuff like that. And then my schedule drastically changed this year, going through the fall and winter and whatever. I had connections with our schools and stuff like that, and I was in the school. Now I'm not, and people ask me like, "Oh, what are you gonna do now that you're no longer tied with that? You're at home a lot." Well, if y'all don't know, when betas come out, I jump on them and do videos, and then live streaming wise, I plan for these live streams. Like this takes a lot of preparing, and so does my next stream coming up Friday. And then I also do weather stuff or my local stuff, and then I also work on another podcast. I actually work with them, so and that goes into preparing for that. So starting Sunday night, or no, Monday, I have to start preparing, make sure everything's ready to go on my end, and then Tuesday I have to work on all that, and then I have meetings on Tuesdays around like 2 o'clock, so I have to get all that ready in the morning, and then I get a dinner break around 5, and then I'm off to the Emergency Operations Center to do work stuff until about 9 o'clock.
Blind insanity. Wow, I figured out about Donald in 2020 as well.
That shit's whack.
Nikita Smith, 2020 sucked for me not only just because of COVID, but for personal reasons as blank. Nikita Smith, I also had a cold, and it took me 3 weeks to fully recover. In fact, I'm still somewhat recovering, but I think there are some factors that are kind of interfering with.
I have a little bit of sniffles, as y'all can hear. Just a little bit.
Ad reaction. What? Blind insanity. Wow, I figured out. Blind insanity. Wow, I figured out about Donald in 2020 as well. Voiceover off.
Oh God. I don't know when I. Wait, was it 2020 when I figured him out? When I heard about him? No, I think it was 2021. I don't know. I don't remember. Unless it was 2000. No, it might have been 2020, like late 2020. Because I got these trolls, and they keep trolling me. Now that I mention Donald more and more, I get more of them. So, someone's trolling me. And then someone's name, Grass is Green. And they're following me on Clubhouse. They're following me on Twitter everywhere. And they're probably following this channel.
Voiceover. Nikita Smith. I still have a bit of a cough, but then again, I've always had a cough because of certain things.
You had a cough because you're short-winded. Nah, just kidding. I know, Nikita. I'm just messing with you. Oh, let's see. What is actually going on? Let's see if this iPad's got any... I like to call it Queer House, but Clubhouse notifications. Oops, it's dead. That worked out perfect. Shit. Well, that's gonna need to be charged. That is really lovely. So, that is like really lovely. Jesus.
Voiceover on.
Damn.
059.
That is poor, actually. But yeah, this whole Donald stuff, Jesus, I don't even know what to say about it.
Nikita Smith. Nikita Smith. LOL. I know you're joking. Ad reaction. What?
You know I have to joke. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get me another thing of water, because I come to find out I've been dehydrated lately. So, yeah. Take care of yourself occasionally. It goes for everyone. Including taking your healthy supplements. Because, you know, they love that you say that. At least 2 glasses of water, that's nice. Yeah, and also I think I'm gonna get up at like 6, so Fun. I'm trying to actually get an actual schedule now. Trying to be more healthy, trying to do more things better to
Nikita
alleviate
Smith,
myself.
LOL. I chat message input.
I mean, you could go every time like Biden does occasionally. Stumbling Biden. Jesus.
Voiceover off.
Lord save us all. Literally, that's all I have to say to that. It's like, Lord save us all from this nonsense. But yeah, I've had this 16-inch MacBook Pro. It ran this stream perfectly fine. My 2.4 gigahertz network was whack, but this thing ran just a-okay. I mean, it had its fun. I'm trying to see something. I'm trying to see if I can get this fan to flow easier back behind the computer, but it ain't working out so well for me. Oh, and when I max, because I have a thing that can max screen brightness out on this Mac, I maxed out the screen brightness while it was on battery power, and it literally used...
Menu bar Apple. You are currently on a menu bar item. Menu extras. iStat, Thursday, OBS Studio, left, Cloudflare Warp, left, third, OBS Studio, menu extra. OBS Studio, you are currently on a menu extra. To open this menu, Launchpad, Streamlabs Desktop, Brave, what, Python Isla, OBS, iStat menus. You are currently on a button, inside.
No, I don't want iStat menus.
Out of grid, one item select, page changed, page 1, radio button, interact with the title of radio button, 1 of 2, stop into grid, 5 row, keynote, home. I'm Vivid. Finder, application.
Can I do it?
Display bright. 100%.
There we go.
100%.
When I max it out with the application called Vivid, and I disconnect my charger real quick, and then I do this.
Launchpad, App Store, out of grid, 5 rows, 7 column, page changed, page 2, radio, grid, 3 rows, 7 columns, in grid, club, set, ambient, beep, win, speed, Google, radar, make, coconut battery. Application, dialog, coconut battery, software update, dialog, coconut, release notes, web content, automatically downloaded, web content, in web content, improvement, heading level 4, coconut battery 3.9.9, end of list, horizontal separate, heading level 4, fixes, list 1 item, bullet, fixed manufacture dates for newer battery. In web content, bullet, fixed manufacture dates for newer batteries, end of list, horizontal set, out of web content. Skip this verb, remind me later, install update, remind me later, but now in coconut battery, current chart, 8,599 mAh, full chart, 8,599 mAh, 100%, design, 8,694 mAh, 98.9%.
Yeah, I don't know why my battery health went down that low. It keeps fluctuating with this
Menu,
Mac.
May 6th, cycle 3, macOS, good, battery tap 83.7, 0 watts, power adapter, 0 watts, discharging with, 0 watt, power adapter, not connected, power, 0 watts, discharging with,
It's broken. That is not.
0 watts, power adapter,
Let me
Finder,
relaunch
desktop,
that.
Launchpad, Streamlabs, clip, set, beep, wind, speed, Google, radar, coconut, Cloudflare, Iron Web, hot, Apple configurator, Brave, Wonder, Skype, OBS, Python Isla, app, hot, Iron Web, Cloud, coconut, radar, Omega, coconut battery, Finder, coconut battery, compute, MacBook, 60, Mac, menu, not Mac, battery, current charge, 8,000, full charge capacity, 8,443, 99.3%, design, 8,694, 97.1%, menu, May 16th, cycle 3, Mac, good, battery, tap, 84.8, 39.59 watts.
Yeah, see, I maxed it out with all the fans running, the CPU running, the GPU running, and this thing running using brightness.
Discharging 39.59 watts.
That's how much it's pulling. It's using about 40 watts of power. But I'm going to reconnect MagSafe, because why not? Yeah, because I don't want to use the battery right now. Go in there. Go in there and stop being a pain in the ass. Thank you.
Paragraph. Battery usage, 0 watts. Power adapter, 0 watts. Power, connected. Power, 0. Battery usage, 85.40. Battery usage, 0 watts. Finder, desktop.
I've noticed with Mac batteries, when they're the lithium polymer batteries instead of lithium ion batteries like the iPhone has, the polymer batteries like to come down in battery health occasionally. They'll actually come down in their battery health, and then they'll go up whenever they're not in heavy stress load.
Voiceover. Nikita Smith. Ellipsis. I'm kind of wondering about something, but then again, I could be wrong.
What?
Nikita Smith. LOL. I know you're joking.
What are you wondering about, Nikita? Oh no, it might be illegal, so you better be careful with that one.
Add reaction. Button.
Speaking of things, so I let the screen brightness be as bright as it is, and it was pulling 35 watts because the fan wasn't running. The display pulls about 20, about 30 watts of power itself. So I was sitting at a desk and I had my Mac unplugged. It went from 100% to 70% in an hour because I had the display maxed out over the 500 nits without watching HDR. The brightness tool actually makes it go above that to 1000 nits, and I did that, and oh dang.
Blind insanity. Nikita Smith, I will tell you behind closed doors.
Okay.
Voiceover off.
If you text me, do not break through my focus. Something she notarized something or noticed something, Blind Insanity. And if it's what I think you're thinking, it could be a possibility of something. Curious minds are very curious. If it's what I think you're thinking. Does it affect my brightness when it's that high?
It's 100, 94, 90, 80, 81%.
When I'm running
80, 90,
HDR
100%.
rendering?
100%, 94%.
Curious minds. Very curious. Yeah, I'm curious if it does. Does it affect my brightness when it's that high?
It's 100, 94, 90, 80, 81%. 80, 90, 100%. 100%, 94%.
Yeah, y'all see it. It's brighter. So I
Display
might
brightness.
run that higher. So
100%.
because then we're supporting instead of SDR quality, it's a higher brightness quality. So to the people that have visually can see things, it's brighter. Yeah, y'all see it. It's brighter. So I
Display
might
brightness.
run that higher. So
100%.
because then we're supporting well, that's why I
Display
dropped this
brightness.
all the way down.
0%.
Do y'all see black? Hold on, I'm finding out something now. It's a higher brightness quality, so to the people that have, visually can see things, it's brighter. Yeah, y'all see it, it's brighter. So I might run that higher. It's gonna loop. I don't want it to loop. I'm really curious. Okay. No, it only when I dropped it down. It brought it back down from that 1000 nits because it's using the GPU more. So does it inflate my CPU higher? That's peculiar. Give me a sec. I'm curious about something.
Menu extras. OBS. iStat menu status. Download 37. iStat menu status. Memory pressure 13%. iStat menu status. CPU 26%.
Alright.
Display brightness.
Up here.
100%.
I put it back above the 500 nit threshold.
iStat menu status. CPU 28%. Menu extra. iStat menu status. CPU 27%. Menu. iStat menu status. CPU core average 126 degree. Menu extra. iStat menu status. CPU 28%. Menu extra.
Yeah, because it's using metal in the metal in the Mac for rendering to trick the display that it's HDR, but it's lower quality HDR. So I might have to keep that wide open if I want my stream, so y'all get bright, vivid colors, especially if you're on a OLED display. Huh. I don't want to run my screen brightness that bright because it's bright to me a little bit, but I can see it better actually. So I might do that.
Smith, don't worry, I won't be. Nikita Smith, don't worry, I won't be breaking through your focus this time. The only reason I did that the last time was because you weren't responding to the message I put up in the chat. Blind insanity,
Lol.
it might have been in the chat I sent. It doesn't look like it got through though. Nikita Smith, blind insanity. Nikita, blind insanity. Wow, I figured out about Donald into page 5 of font. Blind insanity. It might have been in the chat I sent. It doesn't look like it got through though. Voiceover off.
Yeah, you might have to resend it again or something, cause or text me somewhere, cause yeah, I'll have to relaunch Skype over here. I think you're on my Skype. That's interesting, but I'm also interested in why this display is brighter now. Like y'all can actually see when I rise it above the when I brised it above that 100% default macOS threshold. Because it's using metal within the GPU, but I would not think that would affect screen recording. But nah, well, to each their own, I guess. Oh, let's see. So apparently DD is supposed to be also reacting to my stuff. The video I did on Matt, so I'm curious how that went. Let me see. Oh, what? I'm not the only one streaming then. No, interesting. Cloud Army SSB. Still, his channel shows up. Nope, there's no video reacting to the stuff that he said he was going to react to. Damn it. I can't wait for a reaction out of him about the whole video that I did on Matt. That will be interesting to watch. But anyways, everyone, I've been streaming for about 2 to 3 hours. We're going to wrap this up soon. If you have any last final chats to throw in the chat, well, throw it in while you can save your soul.
94%, 94%, 100%, 81%, 94%, 100%.
Yeah, that GPU ain't liking that, because you can hear the fans spin up a little bit higher, and then they come back down. But yeah, I'll be looking into figure out what's going on with this and see what is up with this, because I don't really want to run that display that high. I may not. That is something cool, I guess, but I don't think I'm gonna run it that high, because that heats up my Mac, and I don't really want to run it that long. Unless I was looking at high quality content or editing. So I'm actually gonna put that back down to 50% max
50%.
brightness. There. But let me see what this all is sitting at now.
Menu extras. iStat menu status. CPU 24%. Menu extra. iStat menu status. Memory pressure 14%. Memory use 84%. Menu extra.
The reason why there's 84% memory use is because it's unified memory.
iStat menu status. CPU core average 125 degree. Menu extra. iStat menus. Thursday, August 11th. iStat menu status. Download 34.63 kilobytes per second. Upload 429.11. Third OBS Studio. Menu extra. Vivid. Menu extra. OBS Studio.
But yeah, when you're measuring the unified memory, RAM and percentage points, you want to really check on your memory pressure more than anything. So that's that on that one. That's just because of the way it's designed. Yeah,
Voiceover.
I just think that brightness thing is the metal within the GPU.
Blind insanity. I'll send you it. Voiceover off.
All right. Well, Nikita's going to send me something. Blind Insanity is going to send me something. So I will end this live stream here. Thank y'all so much for watching. And, you know, to each their own with Alex Jones. I don't really agree or disagree with the guy, but I just think that some people need to stop shooting people down for what they want to say on the internet. That if they have their own designated platform that they're doing it on, and it's not on a platform that they agree terms of service to like I do, then they should be able to say what they want without people being a bunch of butthurt snowflakes. But hey, we're in the 21st century. What else can I expect? Anyways,
OBS Studio.
Peace.
Full screen.